Don't mind me working on sleds while SpongeBob SquarePants plays in the background. That's fine. All right, so today I really quickly want to talk about front end kits in M8s. So any Pro Climb from 2012 to 2017, you'll notice that there's different front end kits. There's two, well, there's more than two, but I'm gonna narrow it down to just two front A-arm kits and front spindle kits, because the 13 was different from the 14, which was different from the 12, but they all use the same spindle. So I'm going to talk more about the spindle more than anything, but the A-arms are part of it. But before I do that, I got to dig out this M8 here, so I can actually show you what I'm talking about. So this is my 2014 M8. Disregard how it's being used as a coat hanger and junk storage right now. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm more here to talk about these bad boys. So as you may notice on 2016 and up M's, that these are, they call it a wishbone spindle on the new ones. This is it's actually the Procross spindle is what it really is. And I didn't really think it would have made that big of a difference moving from this spindle to the wishbone spindle. You know, if you're an experienced rider as I am, you can kind of overcome a lot of the kind of limitations on the old body, which is true, and I still believe that. But I didn't really see the new wishbone style spindle really shine until the last trip to Revelstoke. And that was when I really noticed on Ben's sled, which is a 2016 with the upgraded spindles. I really noticed the difference, and it was in that spring snow. In the winter, thick, heavy snow, not so much. You can get by with these just fine. The snow is thin, and even though that this is a large face, it can still cut through it. But when me and Ben were side hilling in that really steep stuff, the really thick spring snow, which I love riding in, I could see the difference. It was everything that I had in my strength to keep this thing on its side. And when I was too far over, this spindle, the wide face of the spindle down here, it dug into the snow. Like when the side hill is, you know, that steep, when that spindle hits the snow, you can, it's a real balance between fighting the sled to keep it on its side and to not have it dig in so much that the spindle bites the snow and it kicks you straight up. And that happened to me quite a few times. And me and Ben are both skilled riders, and our you know, ride level, our experience level is the same, and our skill level is like the exact same. But that's where I noticed it. Like I took his sled for a ride, and it was a completely different world in the front. I've had Nigel's sled out. His is a 15, but he has the upgraded front end. But that's where I noticed, like, it made the world of difference. Like having that narrower front end, having those spindles that would glide through the snow a little easier on a side hill especially. He was going through stuff that it was just it's very frustrating for me to look back on now, because I have a lot of ride confidence, and even to get across those really steep side hills where there's just trees below you, I have the confidence to do that, and I have the ride ability to do that, especially in the right snow conditions. But it was fighting the sled every step of the way. It wasn't anything like his ride, and like I can't believe the difference. I've never thought it was that much of a difference besides the sled. Oh yeah, the sled's a little wider. It'll handle a little different, but it was the spring snow. It was the world to have that front end. It was completely different for us getting across the side hill. And like even to the part where it was for me, I was getting frustrated, and it was everything I had to keep this. I was dragging my shoulder on the uphill side, and these were long side hills. These were long side hills that we were going across. I had my shoulder dragging through the snow, just trying to keep the sled from taking me down the hill. And if it was too much, all of a sudden I'm kicked up, and it was a really fine line. I got kicked up actually a few times. But I just wanted to talk about the difference of it, because I know there's a lot of people who are on maybe a 13, 14, 15 M8. They're maybe looking at an Alpha and they're thinking, well, maybe I should just do the front end kit on mine. And I'm totally good with that. You should do the front end kit But the way to really make it feel like it's worth it is to be in the mountains and to be going across, especially that spring snow on a hard side hill, because that's where I noticed. I've never noticed it before until that trip. That is where the big difference was for me. The downside about these early model Pro Climbs is that this chassis, this Pro Climb chassis, was designed right off their snowcross chassis. So basically the Pro Climb wasn't any different than a F model, like an F8000 F model sled. The only difference was that it had a long track on it. Now they got a 162 or a 153 track on it. That was basically the only difference. The steering post was different too, and there was a couple other little things, but it wasn't enough, I don't think, to call this a mountain sled, because the chassis wasn't really designed for the mountains. Besides a few changes here and there and putting a long track in it. It's different now with the new chassis, the new side panels on 2018s and up. It's brought in 2 inches on this side, 2 inches on that side. They're way different. I've ridden these sleds from 14 all the way. I've ridden 18s too. I think I know these sleds inside and out. No doubt about it. This front end handles better on the trail. It'll handle the whoops better. It handles cornering better. I've got no doubt about that. This sled will handle better on the trail than a 2016 sled, especially when you switch to a 3-inch track. The 3-inch tracks don't handle well on the trail. I think the 3-inch tracks don't handle well on the trail, but that's okay. You're not using that sled as a dedicated trail sled. It's a mountain sled, and a lot of people, especially with the Alpha out now, they say, well, how's a sled like that gonna handle on the trail? It's like shit. It's gonna handle like a piece of crap on the trail. It's the same with everybody's mountain sled. And why are you asking that? It's a mountain sled. Well, I want to use it for both. You can use it for both. Absolutely, you can use it for both. Buy the sled that you're going to be using primarily as a trail sled. You can still go up to the mountains in the spring on a 136 track. There's still people who ride Revel Stoke on 136 tracks and 121 tracks. You just got to do it at the right time of year and have the right snow conditions. Pro Climb was kind of based off of the snowcross chassis. I'm not saying that this isn't a great mountain sled. It is an awesome mountain sled. I do firmly believe that the M series are the most dependable sleds on the market, especially their motors. And I'm just saying that from the ground up, I don't think this was a purpose-built mountain sled, which is different now. Even down to 17, you can really tell that they're putting more effort into the mountain sled models. With the drop chain case and with the 18, the narrower side panels, the new clutching, the new engine. They are purpose-built mountain sleds now. And this is, like I say, this is a great mountain sled. It's just not a purpose-built mountain sled. I don't think so anyway. That's about all I wanted to talk about. If you're wanting to do the 36-inch kit on your 13 up to your 15 M8, do it. Like if you're a mountain rider primarily, if you're gonna change the handling characteristics of your sled, if you want to do that kit will definitely do it. It'll make a huge difference in the way the sled handles. It'll make side hilling easier. Trail is, it's a little bit different on the trail. It doesn't quite handle the trail so well. I don't think so anyway. I'm not a trail rider. I'm not a racer, so I can't really tell you exactly the way it handles in the corners as the way it should handle, because I'm not a racer. So, but it is a little bit harder to go around the corners, obviously, if you have that narrower stance. It really depends on what kind of trade-off you're looking for. So you live in Saskatchewan or somewhere in really anywhere where you're doing primary riding as trail riding, which is fine. Like, people use mountain sleds for trail riding all the time. Just you have to have your sled set up the right way. For example, and this is just a quick example, I don't have a snow flap, and it's because they make me absolutely angry. I've all got a full video about the snow flap, and people saying, "Oh, you got to put that back on. Your sled will overheat." Yeah, if you were on the trails, maybe. But I dropped my scratchers, and I've never had a problem with that. The snow flap gets in my way when I get stuck. I hate it. It's just, I hate snow flaps. They're always in my way, so I take it off. But I would say if you're not doing the the primary of your riding as mountain riding. You know, if you stick to the trails a little bit more, maybe don't spend that money on the front end kit. If you're only doing 2 trips a year to the mountains, it's still a mountain built sled, so it's not like that's going to be the make or break for you in getting around. Like, I still get around just fine. I can tell the difference now that I've seen it in spring snow, but I'm still getting around fine. If you're one of those guys who does, like me, who does 10, 15 trips a year, or gets 30 ride days in a year to the mountains, sticking with that old sled and maybe putting a couple grand into it might be the better option for you. I know it's kind of late in the year, but when I notice a difference in sleds so much, the handling over a single modification instead of buying a whole brand new sled, I got to talk about them. And hey, this gives you all summer, if you've got an M, to think about if you want to do that upgrade or not. As for this thing, I got some repairs to do on it myself. I'm finally doing the ski spacers. I'm doing the brackets for the steering. So thanks everybody for watching this video. Oh, I got a little bit of merchandise to show you guys. I'll show you guys in the next video because I think I'm running way over time on this one already. I've had people ask about merchandise, stickers, hats, shirts, sweaters. I had a couple on order because I wanted to actually make sure the quality was good. Like, a lot of the sweaters or shirts you get customized, they're just thin and crappy, and they wear out, and you send them to the washer once and everything's screwed up on them. I didn't want something like that. I wanted something that was actually good quality, so I didn't want to actually ship out any products that was just gonna deteriorate so fast. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching this video. If you like this video, subscribe, hit the stupid bell, subscribe a second time, and I'll see everyone in the next one.
You gonna be able to hop out of the way over there? Oh, that was all my energy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did we look like we're doing a good job, man? Look at that.